you just lied to millions, and you're about to get away with it. In the world of your sport, no one knows your name. No money, no prospect, no nothing. So you decide to become undeniable. You start training, competing, and over time, end up becoming the best of the best. Quote, the strongest in the country, ranked #1. With it, sponsorships come in, money comes in, and recognition comes in. So much so that your country chooses you to represent them on the international stage, putting you in one of the biggest competitions in the world. And everyone thinks you got it. But there is one little oversight. You don't deserve to be here at all.
System with chains and whips.
So all the foreshadowing I'm doing aside, pretend to be someone you're not isn't just happening in this video, it's happening to you right now, currently, literally. And that's not like a metaphor either. I'm dead ass serious. See, there are thousands of companies out there, or data brokers, collecting your personal information and selling it without you knowing. That's your name, your email, home address, phone number, sometimes even your social security number. They even know your employment history, or for some of us, lack thereof. This is bad. In fact, you probably got one of these emails before where a company emails you saying there was a data breach. Well, that's everything that just got leaked. And with this kind of data, criminals can use it to open credit card accounts, file tax returns, or even commit crimes in your name. Now, thankfully, it's possible to get this data removed, but doing it yourself is ass. Doing the process of finding the company, emailing them, and making sure they get it off too would take years and years and years. But this video's sponsor, Incogni, handles all that for you. Incogni reaches out to these companies and requests that your data gets removed, and even deals with the occasional pushback from those companies. I've had Incogni since like May of 2025, and it's gotten rid of almost 300 instances of my info being on the internet. In fact, every day it's still looking after me. I'm recording this on March 11th, and Incogni got some data mine removed on the 9th. I've had this for almost a year and it's still going strong. In fact, Incogni also dropped a new custom removal feature on their Unlimited and Family Unlimited. So if you yourself find your info on any people search sites anywhere online, you can point Incogni directly to it and have it kill it right there. And I'll be real, I've been sleeping with some peace of mind, knowing that someone doesn't know my lack of employment history. So if you want some peace of mind too, and don't want people buying your information, go to incogni.com/CurtRichy and use the code CurtRichy for 60% off an annual plan. Once again, go to incogni.com/CurtRichy and use the code CurtRichy for 60% off an annual plan. Get some peace of mind back in your life, and thank you, Incogni, for sponsoring this video. All right, real quick. I want you to picture an athlete who's the best of the best, like paragon of their sport. Now, a good chunk of people are probably thinking of someone like this. That's fair, completely fair. Hold on to that image. You might have f***ed up. See, in sports, there's this unspoken hierarchy of what counts as legit. Like if you played multiple sports like me growing up, you've probably seen this for yourself. I did football and track in high school. And something I noticed is that I got a lot more respect for the football than the track. Probably because throwing touchdown passes felt a lot cooler and like a lot more work than taking 180 steps to the left. Basically, perceived work done equals your perception and respect. The little equation used to find out if people give a f about it. In fact, I'm so confident on that, let me double down real quick. For what I did for track, I wasn't even taking 180 steps. I was taking like 8. I was a high jumper, bro. I jumped over bars every day. Comparing that to the perceived intense workouts of a sprinter, they probably lost a little respect from me, right? Exactly. But with all that said, I think that all needs to be put to the side when we talk about being the best at said thing. To get the title the best, it inherently took a lot of work. I don't care if you're taking 180 steps or 8 steps. I don't know, I'm stuck on the step thing. Regardless of the activity, if you are the best, you deserve some respect. So, I say all that to say this. How y'all feel about gamers? Esports. Yeah, respect typically isn't the first word that comes to mind. But honestly, I think they're a perfect example of a thing lacking respect that should be given it, especially at the top of its field. Like, I know at the end of the day, a lot of video games gets boiled down to moving our mouse around and pressing buttons, but like, have you seen someone play Osu at the top level? Like, I low-key want to put a seizure warning here, because what the fuck is even going on? Like, the gold playing Valorant in your unranked lobby with a disgusting KD, the whole reason you keep calling him unemployed is because he's so good, he gives the impression that he doesn't have a fucking job. Like, that's low-key a pretty big compliment. But regardless, the fact that that saying exists is proof enough being good at competitive gaming isn't something to be respected, and definitely not acknowledged. However, that's just a thing in the West, because on the other side of the planet, gaming isn't a joke. It's a proper respected sport. See, over in Southeast Asia, gaming is pretty legit, especially mobile gaming, which is over 70% of the market. And I'm not talking like Candy Crush type beat. I'm talking full tournament systems with national coverage and pro league. Like, bro, they have games like Mobile Legends, which sounds like some shit like right off of a TikTok ad. But the Mobile Legends World Championship pulled 5.68 million peak viewers. This is for context, that's the 2024 NHL Stanley Cup. It's hockey's biggest event of the year, average around 4.2 million. And even crazier, for Thailand specifically, the government officially recognized esports as a sport in 2021. Pro players get love and respect the same way we treat our traditional sports stars over here. So it seems like over there, the door is open. All types of athletes are getting legitimized, but they still have one problem we do. So remember at the beginning of the video, I did the whole asked you to picture an athlete, and by now we've opened up that idea. Probably think of someone different now. Brawny, pop, they could be sitting at a desk or not, playing on a phone, whatever. But I bet there are still a few people who never thought of picturing a woman. You can probably see where I'm going with this. See, there's been a lot of debate about women in sports, from equal pay, viewership, all that, and I am not equipped to get into that conversation. But regardless of where you stand on it, one thing should still be true. These athletes are also legitimate and deserve respect. I feel like that goes without being said. And yet women's sports are still trivialized and marginalized. Why the fuck are people throwing dildos at the WNBA games? Like, these people are at the top of their field too. They just happen to be women. Like, what? I mean, it's even built into the equation we made earlier. It's everywhere, bro. Matter of fact, let's get sexist for a second. There's the argument that because men are better athletically, that it's more interesting to watch male sports, i.e. why that viewership goes up. And okay, I guess if we're talking about athletic balancing, men don't play with women typically, but why the fuck does this carry over to esports? With video games, there is zero biological advantage from having a we were clicking buttons game. There's no reason a woman should be seen as lesser for how well she can click. And yet 40% of gamers identify as women, only 6% of pro esports players are female, and 72% of female gamers report experiencing harassment or discrimination. In fact, there was a study done where if a player's gender was hidden in a game and it just showed gameplay, men and women got rated on the same exact scale. However, the moment you reveal it's a woman, the ratings dropped. Same gameplay with a female voice gets 3 times more negative comments. It's not about skill. It was never about skill. It's about perception. But this time, there isn't even a bad excuse to hide behind. It's just bias, like all the way down to it. How are gamers more respected than women? So it's like, if there's men and women's divisions in esports, that's gotta be based in sexism, right? And it is, but not in the way you would think it would be. All those things I mentioned are acknowledged, but because of those issues, that's what prompted women's divisions to be a thing, to protect women from some of the weird ass men. And although that's a great thing, if you don't know, it also unfortunately reinforces the view that these division splits are because of skill, which has become a deeper and deeper issue all across the globe. But in Thailand, that perception was starting to change, with one girl who was rising through the scene, building a reputation and changing minds. And she was going to shift everything. At least she was supposed to. August 23rd,
2024. A Thai YouTuber and streamer named ChickenV uploads a YouTube video. Now, the ChickenV channel is in this Thai gaming niche, doing things like streams and reactions, but his main bread and butter is a mobile game called Arena of Valor, or ROV for short, and it's one of the biggest mobile games in Thailand. Now, Arena of Valor is, for those of you unfortunate enough to know, League of Legends on your Android. It's a 5v5 where you pick a character and your team picks a character, and the goal is to destroy the other team's base before they destroy it. It's League. But matches are fast, like 10 to 15 minutes.
But don't let that fool you, because there's a necessity for split-second decisions and mechanical precision in this game.
Like this, like, whoa, whoa. I don't know what the just happened, but apparently it was huge. Now, the video ChickenV uploaded is titled, "This is the first whooping that ChickenV admits is insanely good at Arena of Valor." Opening up the video saying, "I was one of those people who thought women couldn't play games as well as men, but today my thinking changed when I met her. Enter Tokyogurl, aka Nafat Warison." Please God, let me get that right. She's a 28-year-old Thai woman who plays carry, which in Arena of Valor is basically like the star position, the damage dealer and the one that everyone's watching when the match is on. And she's got herself a small following, a couple thousand people on TikTok, 15 viewers on her stream on a good day. And she's been in the Arena of Valor scene for around 4 years. So with such a small following, how good's this girl gotta be to get on the stream of someone who has 1 million subscribers?
Well, she was ranked #1.
Not in the region, not in a particular mode, not amongst women. #1 in Thailand, period. She's the best. And she wasn't really giving your typical quote unquote e-girl streamer in the video. She only showed her face for like a second, and then the rest was just straight gameplay.
ChickenV even mentioned that she openly had a boyfriend,
which is kind of an unwritten e-girl sin, as typically to maintain an audience as a woman online playing video games, or really just a woman online, the audience thinks there needs to be this infinitesimally small chance that they could you, I guess. And even less typical of the competitive gaming scene, the alleged boyfriend was also in the community and of age. You do not see that often. Anyways, they start playing together and homegirl's doing amazing. And the chat is going crazy. Mostly. Let's not forget this is a stream chat. We're gonna find some sexist shit in the replies, with skeptics not thinking a woman could be this good. So people asked for gameplay clips, and she sent them to her TikTok. Although other videos, some people note that she only shows her forehead, never her hands, never the screen, just her face from the eyes up. And she can feel the skepticism. So at one point during the stream, she even says, "If I'm lying, I'll get exposed, and that won't be worth it." Sorry, something in my throat. By the end of the stream, everyone's convinced she is the real deal, and her name started circulating
to the point where an organization called Talon
set their eyes on her, which was the start of the end of everything.
Now, what is Talon Esports? Well, it's one of the biggest esports organizations in all of Southeast Asia, and they compete across 2 games, Rainbow Six Siege and obviously, and they're the real deal. Being signed to them means major sponsorships. There's even a boot camp facility in Bangkok, and of course, real money. Now, from what I understand, the money an average esport athlete gets paid isn't anything crazy, probably something around the size of the usual entry-level job. But most people figure they'd rather get paid carrying their team than carrying a tray of fajitas at Applebee's, you know? Besides, living in this world is the perfect setup for being a content creator, which, depending on what you do, has a lot of money in it. Depending on what you do. You watch the sponsor section, right? Talon runs on this thing called an academy system. You come in on a developmental roster and you play in like low tier tournaments while training under their coaching staff. And if you're good enough, you get promoted to the main team. Now, Talon's women's Arena of Valor division is one of their rosters. And after that ChickenV stream, Tokyogurl's name was floating around the Thai scene, and they reached out to her. Now, there is an article that said she was recruited without a formal tryout, but I like to point out that that framing is wrong. As with a lot of esports organizations, you don't really get in with a tryout. You get in with a resume. That way it is a lot like Applebee's. And when your resume says #1 they gonna want you. So in late 2024, Tokyo joins Talon Academy. But more about the technical side of esports. Much like a normal sports team, very often athletes will live together in some form of capacity and train. I know it smells crazy in there, but there are some exceptions, like when you're just getting started. See, Talon's Arena of Valor division for women was brand new, so a lot of the recruitment and training process is online. Now, Talon had a boot camp facility in Bangkok, but for this roster, day-to-day training was mostly happening through a screen. Well, they were all happening through a screen. It was remote. Now, Tokyogurl starts on the developmental roster, and while she's in it, she's kicking ass. Coaching staff sees her numbers, her teammates are seeing the numbers, and she's winning. In fact, to the point where she earns a promotion from academy to main roster. Starting as a sub, but still, second string in the NBA is still in the NBA. But even that doesn't last long because her skills seem to only get better. And by the preseason, their head coach, Palm, says she looks like the strongest player on the roster, and her teammates can back it up. Her numbers are undeniable, moving from sub to carry, which again is the star position in Arena of Valor. And on the team, just like we saw in ChickenV, her play is dominant, and she's performing at an elite level, possibly one of the most elite. And although she does prefer to practice remotely, when the team trains at their Bangkok facility, she joins online when she can. But it don't really matter because her results speak for themselves. But with results like this, Talon's women's Arena of Valor team had eyes on a big prize, something that really would legitimize them. Now, there are these things called the SEA Games, which is basically the regional Olympics. 11 nations in the area doing a massive multi-sport competition, which happens every 2 years, with athletes competing under their country's flag, with medals, ceremonies, and a whole shebang. Now, Thailand was the host nation for 2025, and for the first time ever for Arena of Valor, there was a women's bracket. And with the current talent they had, Talon had their eyes on being Thailand's national women's team. And Talon's got a really good chance, mostly because there's only 2 teams competing for it. But between them and the other team, they win after playing an online qualifier. So Homegirl has gone from a bedroom streamer with 15 viewers to representing her country at an international competition, on home soil for that matter. She's getting the maximum spotlight, and their team is expected to dominate. Expected. December 2025, SEA Games 33, Bangkok. There's 4 countries in the women's Arena Valor bracket: Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, please God, let me pronounce this correctly, Timor-Leste. And the tournament is working in a thing called a group stage best of 3. Everyone plays everyone in a best of 3, which leads to placements and leading to a winners and losers bracket. And for Tokyogurl, this is a completely different stage than anything she's done before. I mean, quite literally, yes, but this time they're broadcast cameras, not just on the game. You can see their hands, their reactions, and what they're doing. And referees are walking the floor. All eyes are quite literally on them. And for the first time in her career, someone can look over her shoulder and see exactly what's happening. 10 a.m. Thailand versus Timor-Leste. Please be right. This is the first match of the day, and on the broadcast, her charisma honestly is through the roof. She's goofing around with her teammates, making cute gestures at the camera and having fun. It seems she's really in her element, even though she's supposed to be shy. And unsurprisingly, Thailand sweeps 2-0 clean. She's doing all right. However, there is something a little odd. Now, usually they do, but for this match, they don't show any of the stats, just the MVP highlight reels. And neither of those highlights belong to Tokyogurl, which, I mean, is not a big deal. It's just somewhat surprising that the #1 ranked player doesn't come in MVP in either of the matches. But honestly, that's nitpicking. A sweep is a sweep, and they move on. 12 p.m., Thailand versus Vietnam. Group stage. Now, something's off. Now, Tokyogurl was really fun and chill in the previous section, right? For this one, she's giving like grandma just died. Super fidgety, hand on the head type beat. And the match starts, and they kind of get their asses handed to them. And once again, the stats tell a weird story. Okay, so we're gonna need a little context. I'm sorry I have to explain league-esque things to you, but if I had to learn it, you gotta learn it. As we mentioned earlier, she plays carry, and in this game is the DPS, damage dealer star position. Their job is to get kills. Other roles include tank, support, mid, and jungle, whatever the that means. They all exist to create space for the carry to do their job. And if we're carries and getting kills, something's off. See, for this match, they actually showed the stat line. And although this meant nothing to me when I first looked into it, after some research, this is very telling. See, this is her, Thai fact. She has a 3.2 rating, 0 kills and 3 deaths and 1 assist. That's the worst player on either team, and it's not even close. In fact, the next lowest rating in the whole match is a 5.8. She's not in the same fucking zip code as anyone else. In game 2, she gets rated a 4.9. 0 kills, 0 deaths, 1 assist. Yeah, the 0 deaths is great, but once again, the damage dealer is doing 0 kills. Like, so you really understand what I'm saying. If you look at Vietnam's carry stats, they got 5 kills in game 1 and 3 kills in game 2. These are proper carry stats. That makes sense. That one makes sense. Tokyogurl's does not. 2 p.m. Thailand versus Laos. Now, this is the third and last game of the group stage. And once again, Tokyogurl's a little fidgety. It's not as bad as it was before, but something seems flipped off. She then proceeds to flip off the camera. I like to remind you that this is the SEA Games, which is essentially the Olympics. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you aren't supposed to go you on national television, you know, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. It could be frustration because of the Vietnam loss or something else. But regardless, she's acting pretty weird. But they play, and once again, they sweep them. And this time, her rating is at 8.6. 4 kills, 3 deaths, 6 assists, which looks like a normal stat line for a carry, which was a lot better than what she was doing before. But her teammates are still outdoing her in kills, even though she's the DPS. A similar deal happens with game 2. 1 kill and 11 assists. For her role, that is kind of backwards. But whatever, I guess. A W's a W. But it feels like Thailand is winning in spite of their carry. Low key. Now, the group stage is complete and the actual bracket is now about to start. And let's be real, looking at Tokyogurl, she is not appearing to be the person that we were gassing up earlier in this video. The person who was apparently ranked #1 at some point. The person her coach said was the strongest player on the roster. Or someone their captain, Give Me a Kiss, said was the strongest marksman in the country. In fact, Give Me a Kiss herself was starting to get suspicious and getting a real weird vibe from Tokyogurl's behavior. The winners final. Thailand versus Vietnam. So we're finally here, the upper bracket final, which is a best of 5, and the winners advance towards gold. And for Tokyogurl, as of now, this is the biggest match of the tournament. She is not looking great, bro. And she's about to face Vietnam again. The same team that made her look like the only thing she should be carrying is a plate of my fajitas at Applebee's. Now, before the match, team captain Give Me a Kiss notices something. She sees Tokyogurl ask one of her teammates for their competition device, saying her phone for some reason doesn't have an internet connection. However, their coach, Coach Palm, shuts this down due to competition rules. You have to plan what they give you. And after this, Give Me a Kiss sees that Tokyogurl is visibly tense. And apparently when it's time to head to stage, she rushed ahead of everyone and was acting weird the whole time. In fact, if you look at the footage, during the pre-match, there's a moment when she looks at the camera again, and much unlike the other times, she looks like a deer in headlights. She looked like she saw the Medusa. And I'm not making this shit up. Scoots over out of frame and make sure her phone also isn't in the frame. Very not suspicious behavior, we can all agree. But eventually everyone's locked in and the match starts. For about 2 minutes. On the broadcast, a message pops up. Translated as spectator has requested a pause. Someone on the admin side had stopped the match. Something was wrong. Apparently, a referee standing behind her had noticed something. Her fingers weren't matching what was happening on the screen. Her character moves, her hands don't. An ability fires, her fingers are still. And at the same time, the organizer's security system flags something. Her game account, the one she's supposed to be playing on right now, on this stage, is logged in on 2 devices. One of them is in front of her, and the other one, well, there shouldn't be another one. It should just be her. Now, this could just be a technical glitch. So the tournament organizers changed the account password and reset everything. But just to be sure, they decide to take a look at Tokyogurl's phone. So they take a look at her device and see that on it is Discord. And even crazier, screen sharing is enabled through Discord. Now, this all could just be some weird glitch. So they just delete it and clear up the issue. Tokyogurl's back into play and the match starts, but actually this time. And Thailand
gets their asses served to them on an Applebee's platter.
There's not a stat line for Tokyogurl this time around, but look, I was watching. I don't even know shit about what this game's supposed to look like, but even I could tell this was not doing good. Honestly, I think they'd be better off if they just did the next round without her. Anyways, they did the next round without her. During the second match, Tokyogurl is gone. Someone else is sitting in the seat that she was in. But despite the swap out, Thailand still loses. So, what the was going on? Was Tokyogurl just having an off day? Well, the governing bodies around this association certainly didn't think that was the case. The next day, the Thai Esports Federation releases a statement. Tokyogurl had been disqualified. Article 9.4.3, violation of competitive integrity. They think she was cheating. Then Garena, the game's publisher, issues a lifetime ban on all Arena of Valor competitions. They think she was cheating. And the same day, Talon Esports terminates her contract. They think she was cheating. And although the Thailand team could still compete in the losers bracket, they were ultimately removed from the entire tournament too. Every single possible governing body that could look at this situation has deemed this as cheating. So at this point, the jig is up. After getting her whole team disqualified and being banned from everything related to Arena of Valor, she finally drops a post where she doubles the fuck down. Here's the whole thing translated and localized, but she makes a few claims in this. First, she says that her behavior was because the pressure got to her. In fact, she had a panic attack so bad that she had to be taken to the hospital, but she promises she had played the match herself. She even said that the phone she had wasn't even capable of screen sharing, and that her middle finger was just her messing around. But the most important statement she makes is her claim that if she was cheating, why wouldn't she win the match against Vietnam? Which, low-key, is kind of a good point. Like, that winner's bracket match, no one knows what the fuck that was. But that first initial match against Vietnam, she played like a two-pack of ass. I don't think any cheating was involved. And if it was, they don't understand what the concept of cheating is supposed to do. And at that point, no new information comes out. Until about 18 days later, where a TikTok confession blows this whole thing wide open. And that confession wasn't from Tokyogurl. January 2nd, 2026. A TikTok gets posted by a guy named Kong, also known as Cheerio, which one we mentioned a little earlier, the semi-pro who is allegedly Tokyogurl's of-age boyfriend. And the post he puts on TikTok blows any speculation wide open. Hello, I'm Kong, or known in the industry as Cheerio. I want to come out and clarify the issues that happened during the SEA games and other competitions, where everyone suspects a third person was playing as a substitute in multiple competitions. I admit that it is true, as it is reported in the news. Boom. We finally have confirmation. Tokyogurl did cheat. All right, so lots of questions, right? Right. So how exactly do you help someone fake their entire esports career? Well, as we pointed out earlier, everything pre-SEA games was pretty much done online. So it was pretty easy to have Cheerio stand in for Tokyogurl for every clip, every stream, every match. It just took a little bit of synchronization. And unfortunately, that also meant that all the sexist people in Cheerio's chat were spitting. The only reason you could see her forehead was because she was not playing. The worst person you know has made a great point. The conditions only changed at the SEA games with the physical stage and cameras, and that's where it all fell apart. Really, that's the only place it could fall apart. Because how can you fake gameplay IRL? Well, they had to play. So looking at the situation again, what started this off is that there was an error where two Tokyogurl accounts were active at the same time in the tournament. A ref also noticed that her finger movements weren't matching her character at all, and that upon inspection, there was a Discord screen share happening in the background. With these building blocks, we can put 2 and 2 together, or I guess 3 and 3 together. But this is still essentially the Olympics. The security can't be that lax. Well, there were some finer intricacies to their plan. So for the tournament, everyone participating got a specific username and password they were supposed to use to log into the tournament. And Tokyogurl sent her username and password to Cheerio, who was at some other location to log into the competition system. However, everyone was to receive a phone from the SEA games. They definitely weren't coming with Discord. So Tokyogurl brought another phone and swapped the competition one for her personal one that had Discord installed. So she could then screen share Cheerio's gameplay and pretend it was her, which would explain her trying to hide her phone so often. So naturally, next question, she was a part of a proper esports organization. They had to have seen her play IRL at least once. How did she get on the team? Some articles allege that she got on without a formal tryout, but as we talked about earlier, we know that's not exactly how this whole thing works. Again, as we said earlier, you get signed to a team via clips. So there probably wasn't a formal tryout for anyone. And as this chapter of Talon was pretty new, any play they would do would already be remote, so that easily could be fabricated anyway. And to get on the national team, the whole team progresses as a whole. So again, no tryouts are needed. This is just how things work. Now, the next question would be why, but it feels pretty obvious. That's her boyfriend. He loves her. It's success for both of them. You know, no biggie. And that's what every outlet's saying anyway. Stuff like Thai Esports Pro admits to playing for his girlfriend after she's disqualified. But hear me out. Them being a thing, everyone just kind of assumed that. That was not the case. In fact, that was clarified later on. Tokyogurl was simply paying Cheerio to do this for her. Basically, she was a sugar mama, paying 300 to 500 baht per session, which is $10 to $16, so I don't know how sweet the sugar was. She also covered his rent, helped him move, and bought him things. Even for the SEA game specifically, she promised him an iPhone if they won gold. Which also, I just want to point out, is kind of crazy that one Olympic game is equivalent to 16 bucks. But, you know. But back to the boyfriend-girlfriend thing, I couldn't find anywhere where it said that they were a thing beforehand. Nowhere. The closest I could get was the ChickenV video transcript where he says that she has a boyfriend, which she does not deny, but no one ever says it's Cheerio. All outlets just assumed it was, which is, I think, worth pointing out. Man helps woman cheat at esports and it's assumed because they're f***ing, not because he's broke and she has the assets to help him out, but you know, whatever. It's conversation for another day. Now, the scope for this incident is surprisingly large. Like, the president of the Thai Esports Federation even weighed in saying, cheating and losing is truly shameful. I feel like him adding both kind of flip the intended message, but still, impressions of the Thailand team and of women gaming in general just dropped. Her teammates trained for months and qualified legitimately and had to walk out because one of them bullshitted everything, which gets even crazier to think about when you remember Tokyogurl was doing ass in those other games that they won. Like I said, they won in spite of her, which goes to show their level of talent. But now all that talent won't even get recognized. Give Me a Kiss later posts on her Facebook, our hearts were shattered. We'd like to apologize to the people for the incident. Even though she had nothing to apologize for, we're sorry for you, girl. In fact, other women pioneers in the ROV scene in Thailand had words to say too. I feel deeply ashamed. How will people look at Thai women players from now on? Stating Tokyogurl's actions had undermined years of work by female players trying to build credibility for women's esports. The SEA Games is supposed to be a breakthrough moment for them. But now, when people see the headlines, all they'll really hear is a women's team couldn't make it to nationals without some guy. So at this point, everything is out. As we pointed out, Tokyogurl was denying everything pretty much the whole time. But after all this, there isn't really much that can be said. So Tokyogurl posts one thing to her Facebook. Not one last big denial of everything or even a long-winded confession like Cheerio. All she posted was, "I'm sorry," on black. And then she disappeared. Now usually this is where the story ends, right? But what if I told you things only got worse after that? February 4th, the Crime Suppression Division of Thailand raided 3 locations and seized phones, chat histories, and IP address records. And on February 13th, Tokyogurl gets, yes, arrested, Cheerio as well, and face jail time for what they did at the SEA Games. And you might be thinking, whoa, it's just cheating. That seems a little bit intense, but that's not exactly what they were even getting arrested for. What they were charged with is colluding to obtain and disclose restricted computer access credentials and unlawfully accessing computer data protected by security measures. What they committed was a data crime. Something as silly as cheating in a video game not only set women in esports back, but put both of them in jail. And both ended up getting sentenced for 6 months, although they only have to serve 3 for pleading guilty. Now, this video is already long enough, but there's one thing I want to talk about to end this whole thing on. And it's nothing proven, just a theory from my own head that kind of ties this whole thing together. Now, Tokyogurl said that she played every match and that if she cheated, she would have won the match against Vietnam, which sounds like the bullshit reasoning of someone backed into a corner. But I think some of the best lies have a kernel of truth. At the SEA games, I don't think Cheerio actually got to play a single match. And the majority of every game we saw was Tokyogurl. Think about it. If a semi-pro was playing those matches remotely, why would their performance look like what it did? The worst on the team every game? And you can check it out, the way the confession is worded, you can interpret that he never fully got to play a game at the SEA game, just that he had been playing for her in the past, and that they tried to do it at the SEA game. I think the setup never worked during the group stage. I think they tried to get the connection going for Vietnam and it failed. And they tried again for Laos and it failed again. And every game was her, i.e. why the stats were so bad. And then when they finally got the connection to work, the time she was most fidgety, it only worked for a minute or so before the referee caught them. So ironically enough, in the competition that ended up taking Tokyogurl down, she ended up playing this game probably the most she'd had in some time, which is some damn dramatic irony if I've ever seen it.